And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom,
He is Jalen. First, everybody.
What up, Dap?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in. Center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax. It's
The new style.
We're Jalen and Jacoby. What
We
do
get the
do?
people.
Yes. You okay?
What they want.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's Women's Wednesday here on Jalen and Jacoby. This is the day of the week in which we celebrate the more intelligent, the kinder,
the more disciplined,
the more
harder
reasonable,
working,
the more responsible,
better
the harder
smelling,
working, just the superior gender of our species, the ladies in our lives, and, of course,
I'm
around
glad
the world.
you took the term crush out of it. That term is sexual. It's subjective toward women when you use the term crush. Thank you for saying Women's Wednesday and taking out the word crush.
It's Women's Wednesday, meaning
It has a
we
sexual
take
overtone.
all female voicemails on Women's Wednesday. And we're going to start with this.
Hey guys, hey Jalen and Jacoby. This is Anna from Portland, Oregon. Huge fan of you guys. So currently my boyfriend and I are at the airport waiting for our very first flight out to Detroit for my friend Sarah and Bobby's wedding. Shout out to them. They're a huge power couple to me. I know you guys love power couples. Just got a question, soft move or boss move, to get one of those luggage carts, at the airport and not put your luggage on it, but have your boyfriend just push you around the airport, because it's a pretty big airport. All right. Love you guys. Keep giving the people what they want. All right. Bye.
Interesting. I thought she was going to say soft move or boss move, get the luggage cart. And I was like, oh, boss move. You got a lot of luggage. You can, it's better than rolling around your luggage. But get the luggage cart, which is like $1.50 or something, right? And then just have her sit on it while he pushes her around in it like a stroller. Soft move or boss move, Jalen Rose.
1,000% boss move.
I agree.
Here's why. And anybody that's in a relationship or hoping to be in one, there's nothing like creating fun. Out of situations that may seem normal or mundane when everybody else is serious. Like walking through the airport.
Stressed out.
Everybody's in
everywhere.
a rush.
Yeah.
People hurry walking. People trying to change flights. If you could just break that up by creating some fun, almost like a childlike enthusiasm when you went to the supermarket with your parents and they pushed you around in a shopping cart, it's the exact same thing for me.
Anytime that your boyfriend does something for you that makes you feel like Cleopatra, it's a boss move. You know what I mean? And anytime that you can elevate your lady to a queen-like status, even if it's sort of with a little bit of fun and humor like you were mentioning, that's good. It's still fun to overdo it sometimes. Like sometimes when I go to dinner, I'll pull out the chair for my lady. It's 2018. You don't really have to do those things. But just overdoing it, it's nice. Another boss move I do is if let's say I've done this to you before. Let's say I've got a rental car and we're in Bristol. We walk to the parking lot and I'm about to drive you back to the DoubleTree Hotel. I will walk over to the passenger side and open the passenger side door for you, just like one of my male friends, and have them sit like I'm an Uber driver, have them sit down, and then close the door. Just like let me take care of you. I'm driving today.
Hit the brakes. You have never done that for me.
I do it for my other
You're
friends.
lying to the people.
Then I do it for my
right
other
now in this microphone. Reg,
I've never done that
Kayla,
once. I've never done that
Arlen,
once. Never done that once.
Tanner,
I've never
Lisa,
done that once.
both Curtises.
I've never done that once.
We've been doing this show 8 years. Y'all have never heard any inkling of what just came out of your mouth.
I've never done that once.
Ever.
Oh, I do that for my friends all the time. I guess I don't like you that much.
Well, let's section it then. You said the DoubleTree. When have you ever taken me to a DoubleTree? That would have to be in Bristol.
In Bristol, that's what I was talking about. I said the Bristol parking lot.
And that probably only happened with us totally like 3 times ever. And those times you did not open the door for me. You're lying to the people.
I do it a lot with my friends.
So what does that say about your relationship with me?
We're not friends. We're colleagues. We're colleagues, dog.
You're supposed to answer that question by saying we're brothers. You missed the mark.
We're colleagues.
You know what?
We're colleagues.
You know what? This is a perfect example why we should have kept this show called The Rose Report. This is why right now.
It's like Belichick and Brady. Like Ian O'Connor can write a book about us.
This is a perfect example of why certain groups don't add every member into the title. Because the guy started getting like this.
Yeah, I guess we're not friends. You know what I mean?
I thought he was going to be like, we're brothers. He's like, no, we're co-workers. So we'll see who you go hang out with when this show's over.
I just saw something that came across my social media. I found it interesting.
Okay.
It's from a tweet from Old Man Ebro. Big shout to him.
Oh, that's the OG.
Shout out.
Shout to Paul Rosenberg, too.
And he had an image from a fan of their show.
Shout to Nessa, too.
That said that
Shout out.
the MGK response track was uploaded 7 months ago.
What?
Oh, okay.
Now, this is some like internet stuff. We have to go into the code and like find out what something's uploaded. I don't believe that to be true.
That's not true.
I don't think it's true either. I don't think that's true. It's interesting. It's an interesting theory, but it's just not true. Like, here's the thing. You don't even know what you're doing next weekend. They didn't plan this beef 7 months ago.
You know what I'm going to plan? I need to plan trips to go visit Hot 97 and my peeps. Also, the Breakfast Club.
You should.
Put on for this program.
You should.
I talked to the homie Charlemagne about coming on. He said he would.
Shout out.
Him coming here, you going there.
Coming on our show, it just that the time doesn't always work out.
He's busy.
We'll figure out a way to get it
He's
done.
busy. He's got a lot going on. Big shout
to Angela, too.
Big shout to Charlemagne.
Envy.
Charlemagne got mentioned twice on Eminem's album. Got mentioned twice. Big shout to Charlemagne. He's doing it big, man. I was excited to see his growth.
Yeah, that's the homie.
Over the past decade.
Never sold out.
Never did. Let's get the people doing.
Guys, let's be real. When you look good, you feel good. At the JCPenney wardrobe sale, you can get 50% off select men's suits, separate sport coats, dress pants, and accessories. Plus, select dress shirts, buy one, get one free. Raise your game with Collection by Michael Strahan. All the right looks to take your style to the next level. Also, save an extra 20% off with your JCPenney credit card and coupon, or extra 15% off with any other method of payment. Hurry in. JCPenney. Style and value for all. Pricing and coupon valid 9/13 and 9/23. Credit offer subject to credit approval. Some exclusions and restrictions apply. See store at jcp.com for coupon and details.
Now, another day, more drama in Pittsburgh. Yesterday was Antonio Brown's tweet. Today, it is the information that Antonio Brown did not report to the facility on Monday. Well, his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, said this to Adam Schefter. Quote, Antonio had a personal matter. I talked to the team about it. His issue was unrelated to the tweet or his relationship with the team. Third, AB has an incredible drive to win. He just wants to win. That's all that is. Jalen Rose.
What up, Dad?
Drew Rosenhaus says it has nothing to do with his relationship with the team. Do you believe that?
No. And the one thing about this situation in Pittsburgh, I've talked about it headed into the season. The underreported story of the year is that this is Le'Veon Bell's last year with the Steelers.
Mm-hmm. No question about it.
That's the story of this NFL season. This is Le'Veon Bell's final season with the Steelers.
He's going to wear a different uniform next year.
And what's unique about this scenario is he's established himself as one of the best players in the game.
Yep.
Antonio Brown established himself as one of the best players in the game. Mike Tomlin, one of the best coaches in the game. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have been a model of consistency. So where are the fractures? Because the organization didn't take care of Le'Veon Bell when they should have. Nope. That's all they had to do. In my opinion, you saw he was one of the top backs in the league.
He is unquestionably.
A couple of years ago, if they would have taken care of him contractually, then I think things would be a lot smoother. And the other thing I want to point out is when tragedies happen and they don't take place in your eyesight or right in front of you, it's easy to dismiss them.
Sure.
And continue with your normal life. They get a chance to see Ryan Shazier. And here's a guy who could have lost his life playing football, but did lose his career and is battling to try to figure out how to walk, how to run, how to be a productive member of society physically in hopes of playing football again. So both of them sitting back looking like, wait a minute. AB, like, y'all didn't pay him.
Every time
but y'all want me to get out there.
Every time we snap the ball, that could happen to me.
Correct.
Every time we snap the ball. So let me make sure that everything is right if I'm going to go out and risk that every time I hit the field.
And also, frankly, he and Big Ben have struggled to connect. Big Ben overthrew him 6 times in the previous game. Mm-hmm. That's the most in any game.
And that's frustrating.
That's frustrating for him.
So here's another thing is, I can't help but think, you said something smart. Winning is the best deodorant. Mm-hmm. Winning is the best deodorant. And losing stinks.
Correct.
And here's what's happening. If a couple things went different, like, people always talk about the Bucks and Fitzmagic, but Ryan, they scored too. That was a 1-score game at the end there. If a couple things broke a different way and the Steelers were 2-0, we don't even talk about this.
Gather around, boys and girls. I agree with you, family. And here's some points for media members to run with, too. Number 1, should have taken care of Le'Veon Bell. Keep the big 3 in tow as long as you can.
Sure.
Number 2, when the Shazier thing takes place, it makes everybody look at life and football a lot different because it's happening right in front of you.
Of course.
Number 3, all of the guys that we're talking about, Le'Veon, Brown, and even their head coach Mike Tomlin, can get another gig just like that. So it's not like they have the fear of, I don't have what it takes to make it in this league, and I don't have a level of staying power.
Like a Des Bryant type of thing where you're like, ooh, am I being pushed out the league here?
Correct. And so when somebody that used to work for the team tweets like, you believe, which may suggest that people that work here still believe that Big Ben made me, it's like, I could go somewhere else and be that dude.
Yeah, of course.
Don't make
me
me show
in the Patriots uniform. Forget just Gordon.
Correct. And so it's a level of dysfunction that I don't think they're going to be able to cure in order for them to reach their goals, which is going to lead for them to end up trading Le'Veon Bell. And then now, how are you going to turn around and satisfy Antonio Brown? That's going to be a head-scratching proposition.
Because Antonio Brown he's not severely underpaid. I'm sure he's looking at Odell Beckham saying, I'm the wide receiver that he is, and I should be getting every penny that he does. But it's not like he's in a situation where he's dramatically underpaid. But it just seems like he's unhappy. And if they lose Le'Veon Bell from the team, that makes them worse on offense. It makes things harder for Antonio Brown.
Thank you, David Jacoby. Correct. If you guys aren't taking care of Le'Veon, and he clearly has shown that he's one of the best people in the game, you're crippling the product you put on the field each Sunday.
We're not getting better without Le'Veon Bell.
We're not getting better. So, yes.
James Conner's cool and everything, but he's not Le'Veon Bell.
Nope. Correct.
So, Le'Veon Bell seems to be taking this all pretty well. We saw him on the jet ski talking to a fan. And the latest is we've got some video from his album release party. He's in Miami. Shout out to DJ Iron Lion, went to my high school. He's in Miami, and he's just like rapping along to his songs. And this isn't shot on iPhones. This is shot on a real camera. Like, he wants this to get out there. Jalen, is he doing this on purpose? Is he kind of putting himself in the public eye on purpose as a message to the Steelers front office and his teammates?
No, he's being someone that has interests outside of football. And as a 30-year-old running back, at some point he has to start thinking about things that excite him, things that give him a rush other than football, because that's not going to be forever. And you will see people keying when they say, oh, here's another athlete trying to be an MC.
Yep.
He's not trying to do this because he hopes to go diamond one day. He's trying to do it because it's something that he loves.
He enjoys it. Some people knit, some people whittle wood, and he likes to just record some tracks.
And by the way, he clearly knows that rap isn't paying him what football is paying him, because he could go to the Steelers camp and get $14 million right now if he wanted to.
Yes, but he's losing like around just under $600,000 a week in game checks.
Yeah, he's at $800,000.
Do you think he will show up? Do you think at some point, like week 5, week 6, he just shows up?
I don't think it's in everyone's best interest for that to happen. You could show up when we're 5-0, and then people will still look at you sideways. You could show up and we're 2-3. They're still going to look at you sideways. So at this point, I think because players have talked publicly, since Antonio Brown is now missing workouts, it's become a point of conclusion that the ultimate settlement is going to be like Khalil Mack, where they trade him to another team. that's going to put him his name in headlines, going to embrace him being there, and give him a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. You can put that one last for a reason. Well, we don't really hear about this sort of drama with the Steelers franchise, and we really don't hear about this sort of drama with the Patriots franchise. But Ian O'Connor has a book coming out about Bill Belichick, and in that he has details about the relationship between Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, which wasn't really fractured until this offseason, but we didn't really understand how fractured that possibly was until we heard this from Mr. O'Connor. And he wrote, quote, he said, quote, if you are married 18 years to a grouchy person who gets under your skin and never compliments you, after a while you want to divorce him. Tom knows Bill is the best coach in the league, but he's had enough of him. If Tom could, I think he would divorce him. He said that Tom Brady was considering leaving the Patriots as soon as late March. Jalen Rose. Do you think Tom Brady was really considering leaving the Patriot franchise?
Fellow Michigan alum, and he's established himself legitimately in the conversation of being the greatest quarterbacks of all time. There's always going to be turbulence in any relationship, especially a successful or one that's failed, but more importantly, one that's lasted 18 years.
18 years, you're going to have some bumps in the road.
And usually, players aren't allowed to be in one situation that long, and coaches aren't in one situation that long. So this is actually a unique and perfect storm for both of these people to be in the same place at the same time.
Of course.
And guess what they accomplished together? We're not talking about Bill Belichick as the greatest coach of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady's in the conversation of greatest quarterbacks of all time. And the Patriots are in the conversation of model franchises.
Of course.
So there is going to be some push and pull when you're the head coach, because your job is to win today's practice, win Sunday's game, but also nurture your roster to the point when guys start to slow down, I have a plan in play. Quarterback isn't excluded from that.
No.
So for Tom Brady, when you've accomplished what he's accomplished, you can now kind of go around the coach.
And some of this tension resulted from the way that the Patriots drafted and nurtured Jimmy Garoppolo and sort of treated him as the incumbent quarterback, and that rubbed Tom Brady the wrong way. They obviously traded him to the 49ers, and some of this stems from Alex Guerrero. You know, we all know this story. Tom Brady's trainer and business partner, who was very close to the team, traveled with the team. Mm-hmm. Bill Belichick was kind of like, yeah, and let's not do that anymore.
But many people that talk about this topic for public consumption, they talk about it in hindsight. They didn't draft only Jimmy Garoppolo. They drafted Jacoby Brissett as well.
My man Jacoby, he looked good too when he started.
And so now, the way Jimmy Garoppolo performed and then performed in San Francisco, we're going to automatically give him that made man badge because he was with the Patriots organization, and now he got a $120 million deal. But there was another quarterback they also took, and that part gets lost. And so if you're Tom Brady, you're like, I ain't trying to retire. He keeps coming out saying he want to play multiple more years. So you kind of do what a linebacker can't do. You go to the owner.
Yeah.
And you like, these two dudes that y'all got on the roster,
I don't like them around.
I don't like them around.
I know what you're doing. I don't like them around. But if I was Tom Brady's best friend, after a couple glasses of wine, because I know he's from Northern California, I would say, Tom, if you were the general manager, if you were the owner of the Patriots franchise, what do you want him? Not to have a backup quarterback? What do you want him to do? Like, of course, you're 40-something years old, dog. Of course we got to plan for the future. This is what you do. If you were the GM, you would do the exact same thing, so you can't hold that against them.
We just talked about the Steelers. Guess what they did in this year's draft? Pick somebody in the draft to be their backup quarterback. Mm-hmm. Guess what the New York Football Giants should have probably considered doing, even though I think they did the right choice in taking Saquon, they could have probably taken a quarterback. At some point, even though he's won a Super Bowl for you.
Lineman, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but here's the deal. Just because a quarterback has won a Super Bowl for you, Joe Flacco comes to mind. That doesn't mean that they're going to be there forever.
Everybody is replaceable.
It has to be
everybody is replaceable in every job around the world. It's time for News That Matters. Kylie Jenner, don't need to explain who she is, part of the most famous family in the world, had this post on social media that is very important news. Quote, last night I tried cereal with milk for the first time. Life-changing. What? 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 Life-changing? You didn't understand that those boxes of cereal you pour into a bowl and you put milk in it? How did she get so far without trying cereal with milk?
I don't know how you get past 2 years old without having cereal with milk.
Oh, I've got a million kids. Do you know what they eat? Cereal with milk.
Correct.
Day and night.
I don't know how that even takes place. Now, there may be a level of privilege attached to this where
maybe she had a personal chef doing eggs every morning.
Cereal, but she wasn't eating it with quote unquote milk. There's a lot of different ways to have, maybe
let me say this.
A healthier version.
Everyone's focused on her eating cereal with milk for the first time, but I want to bring this up. Eating cereal at night, that's a failed test.
Absolutely failed
test. That's a failed test. I love me some cereal.
But you know what else that is?
All times.
Not in a relationship, probably, or doesn't live with the person, and or you don't cook.
What kind of cereal do you think she had? If you were going to give somebody cereal for the first time with milk, what would you give them?
Golden Grahams,
Cinnamon Toast
Frosted
Crunch.
Flakes.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch all day. All right, we got some news, Jalen Rose. Richard Jefferson. He came on. He was in for you one day. He was great to work with.
Shout out.
I really enjoyed him. And he said a couple interesting things. One interesting thing he said is playing with LeBron is not for everybody, which has made a lot of sense to me. But then he said that he would come back and play another year if it was the right situation. Like, he's not just looking for a check or looking for a team to join or just trying to play basketball to stay out the house. He said it was the right situation. But there's now news that he would join the Nets broadcasting team.
What?
If he doesn't find the right situation. What do you think about that?
I like it. He's one of the guys. Media has changed from early 2000s clearly to now. I remember trying to get into this industry in 2002. It just wasn't as many outlets. There was no NBA TV. There was no NFL Network.
And there wasn't digital things like Undefeated or Uninterrupted.
Yeah, it wasn't social media, period. So it wasn't Instagram, wasn't Twitter, wasn't a way to really catapult yourself, and so you were serious in doing it unless you got a chance to work with Fox, Best Damn Sports Show, which I did, and ESPN, which I did. So Richard now, and a few other players that I see, CJ McCollum comes to mind as well.
He's going to be in the media.
Have done a terrific job of not only playing in the league, but also showing that they have media chops.
At the same time, like you did it towards the end of your career. You know what I mean? You weren't averaging 20 when you started getting in the media.
You're wrong.
Really?
Yes, you're wrong.
When did you start?
When I got traded to the Bulls. And I was averaging 23.
Well, yeah, you had to. Someone had to average 23.
Well, it's easy for you to say. But the thing about what he's done is he always had a personality. It just didn't necessarily coordinate with his opportunities that he got as a basketball player. While he was on the Nets and they did a couple of NBA Finals runs playing with Jason Kidd and Kenyon Martin, he was out there doing his thing. But like myself, you end up finding yourself in situations where it's nondescript team, nondescript stats.
Yep.
You know, you got to find a way to keep your name out there if this is what you want to do. So over the last couple of years, he did that playing in Cleveland with his podcast and Kevin Love and stuff like that. So I'm not surprised that this opportunity presented itself, and I actually think he's going to do a really good job.
I think he's doing a great job. J.R. Smith and his brother Chris released a children's book about growing up together and helping each other succeed in basketball.
Keep getting them checks.
Well, one thing I like about this is they're saying that a portion of the book's proceeds will go to the J.R. Smith Youth Foundation. But here's a question. Can't we just get 100%? Don't tell me a portion of the proceeds. I don't mean to take shots at the dude who's doing something good for the kids and just I don't think he's trying to get rich off of this. Well, but just say all of the proceeds.
Well, basically, it's like I'm looking out for the kids, but I got to eat too.
just say all of the process. Maybe not all the proceeds because we got to chop it up with the guy that drew the pictures or whatever. But just say like all the profit will be donated to the J.R. Smith Youth Foundation. I love J.R. Smith so much. The narrative about J.R. Smith has really changed since he won that championship. It really has.
You just talked about two players that play with LeBron in Cleveland. And ultimately, it puts you in a different stratosphere of how people view what you've been able to accomplish.
Another player that played with LeBron in Cleveland who's also making some news is Kevin Love. You had the opportunity to speak with him on Get Up, and he's partnered with Headspace, and he's started a foundation which is really bringing a lot more attention to mental health and not just physical health, and removing some of the stigma of mental health and getting help with mental health in not just basketball but around the world. And what was it like talking with Mr. Love about that?
We have a long-standing relationship, actually. I remember when the summer when he got drafted, I actually got a chance to work out with he and Russell Westbrook, who were college roommates for a long time for that summer. And I've appreciated watching him reinvent his game, change his diet, his body style. Productive in Minnesota, huge numbers, playing a role in Cleveland where he was the third best player on the team. Now he's looking forward to the opportunity to be a leader in the locker room.
You know what I like? I kind of like his clothes for Banana Republic. They're kind of down the middle. I think like in that relationship, like you're more the Russell Westbrook and I'm more the Kevin Love. Like Kevin Love, Banana Republic, just got like a trench coat and like some reasonable pants. You know what I mean? Just nothing crazy. And then Russell Westbrook dresses like he does, which is kind of like the difference between us.
Well, and uniquely again, like both of them are interested in fashion. And if you didn't know that they were college roommates, you wouldn't realize that they're going into that endeavor directly or indirectly with the same thoughts in mind, but different fashion sense, clearly.
Well, yeah, very different fashion sense. If you had to have Kevin Love's wardrobe or Russell Westbrook's wardrobe, which one would you go with?
I'm not showing my ankles. And I'm not showing my chest like it's Saturday Night Fever. So those are both
all
Russell.
You had to say was Saturday Night Fever when we were on Celebrity Family Feud. That's all you had to say.
Hey, Saturday night Fever. I was like, party.
You're the best. Upstart has revolutionized the way we borrow money by going beyond the traditional FICO score to offer personal loans, taking into account factors like job experience and education when determining your interest rate. It's so quick and so easy. Checking your Upstart rate is free and has no effect on your credit score whatsoever. Your Upstart rate takes just 2 minutes. And if you're approved, you can get your hands on some funds as soon as the next business day. You can pay for just about anything when you're approved for a personal loan with Upstart. Okay, some people have a lot of debt. I understand that. Everyone's been through that. Some have a little bit of debt. The vast majority of us have some debt. But the path to financial freedom can look awfully bleak when you have a high interest debt. Guess what? If your FICO score isn't great, you can still make breaking out of the revolving debt cycle harder than it needs to be. So here's what you do. Upstart can offer you personal loans. They're not like the ones that your bank or credit union provides, because Upstart goes beyond the traditional FICO score when assessing your credit worthiness. Join the 100,000 people that have used Upstart to pay off credit card debt, fund their wedding, or simply just make a large purchase. Now it can be your turn. Hurry to upstart.com/Jacoby and find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes 2 minutes and it won't affect your credit. Go to upstart.com/Jacoby. Get your hands on some funds. Pay off your other debts. Buy some new things. Upstart.com/Jacoby.
Ow. Yep, you guessed it. I'm a speed bump, so I've got one job. I slow you down. So imagine how I feel about Geico, who does way more. Like, not only could they save you money on car insurance, but they've been around for over 75 years, giving people fast and friendly claim service. Ow. Plus, they got a nifty mobile app that gives you 24/7 access. Ow. Just doing my job, buddy.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Jalen Rose. Early in the summer, June 18th, I just moved to New York City. And here in this room, in this program, we were talking about the tension in the locker room of the Minnesota Timberwolves, particularly between Karl-Anthony Towns and Jimmy Butler. Well, that tension has not resolved itself over the summer. And much like the Steelers, seems like every single day there's an update on what's going on with the Timberwolves. Mm-hmm. There was supposed to be a meeting on Monday between Jimmy Butler and the Timberwolves brass. And then Jimmy Butler tweeted that was actually going to be on Tuesday. Then there will report that the meeting that was going to be in Minnesota, this is the latest, is actually now going to be in Los Angeles. The old, I'm not coming to you, you come to me for the meeting. What does this latest update about the meeting location tell you about the situation in Minnesota?
It furthers the point that I was alluding to on this program, was that there clearly has become a divide between Tom Thibodeau, who, when you give him $50 million to be the leader of the franchise in its face, also is the head coach, and Jimmy Butler, who he coached in Chicago, who's a veteran, has been around the block, that wants to find ways to either pat on the back or kick in the butt his young teammates in Karl-Anthony Towns, who has superstar potential.
Oh, yeah.
And Andrew Wiggins, who's shown to be a really productive player with a max contract. And so that push and pull has played out in the locker room. It has played out in the media. It came to a distinct, it got a level of definition when you saw how they performed against the Rockets.
Yep, especially Capella on Towns. I remember that.
Yeah, and Carl continued to drift, and people were wondering, are they using him right? Or does he not want it?
Is Capella just like all of a sudden a lockdown defender?
And like, wow, we're paying Wiggins how much, and he's doing this level of productivity. And then Jimmy comes out and says, I need these guys to play harder. I need these guys to play defense. I need all of these things, and you're saying it publicly. And then Karl Anthony Towns like, all right, Booker, I guess I could come to Phoenix. Let me check out that jersey on Twitter.
That Rockets-Timberwolves series that people will forget because it was so early in the playoffs and didn't last that long, that will leave a bad taste in your mouth if you wear a Timberwolves uniform all summer long, which I think relieves to some of these reports and some of this tension.
And so now you fast forward to Jimmy and the organization meeting. It's really to clear the air for a player that's still under contract for another year. Could sign an extension, but didn't. Karl Anthony Towns could have signed an extension, but didn't. And you don't want to lose Jimmy at the end of the year for no return compensation. So if you're him, this is the only chance I have for leverage. Y'all come to me.
So explain to me how this works. If I'm Tom Thibodeau and I look at my phone and I'm like, oh, it's Jimmy's agent. Let me pick this up. And it's like, all right. Oh, wait, he wants me to go to Minnesota. Wait, I thought the meeting was in Minnesota. He's got to come here for training camp. Oh, you want me to get on a plane and go to Los Angeles to meet with Jimmy? He hangs up the phone. He's like, this dude.
I'll tell you how both of those calls go. I'll tell you how Jimmy speaks to the agent. I ain't going to Minnesota till I have to be there. I'm going to go the night before training.
And then Jimmy's agent's like, Jimmy, you already said you were going to go.
No. Jimmy agent gets on the phone with the team. Like, I got off the phone with Jimmy. He got so many things he need to do in LA.
A lot of family
he got
stuff.
Meetings.
Yeah, he's working out. He's working out
with
2
the
times
trainer.
a day. Yeah, it's really
so
important.
Many things
he doesn't want to break the routine. Yeah. He's doing a really good thing. It's probably best for the organization
out there
that you come out here.
Yeah, so it's best for everybody.
He's real focused on getting right for the season.
That's how those conversations go. But ultimately, I think what's going to take place is either we're going to see Jimmy long-term with the team.
Oh, I know what's going to happen.
Karl Anthony, or these are ors, by the way. Either see Jimmy long-term with the team, or see Karl Anthony Towns long-term with the team, and or the team trade Wiggins.
Interesting. You've hinted at that before. So here's what I think is going to happen. All 3 of them are going to be on the Timberwolves. All 3 are going to show up to training camp. They're going to start the season. It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. That tension in the locker room, they're going to start to lose. Winning will relieve that tension, but losing will multiply that tension. And Jimmy Butler gets traded before the trade deadline. That's how I see this playing out. But who knows? Who knows? We've been surprised before. Well, Russell Westbrook got surprised recently. The same thing has happened to me. You know your lady's pregnant. You're so excited about this child. Is it going to be a boy or is it going to be a girl? And then you find out that it's twins. And you never considered how many are in there. But he and his wife, Nina, have announced.
You didn't consider when you was practicing?
No, never considered that. Never considered that. Russell Westbrook and his wife, Nina, have announced that they are going to have twin girls. So they already have a young boy, 16-month-old named Noah, and now they're going to add twin girls to that family. Well, guess what, Jalen Rose?
What's that?
I have the exact same situation. I've got an older boy, and I've got twin girls that are younger than the boy. So, I've got some advice for Russell Westbrook.
You did this with Jay-Z and Beyonce. You don't like when people do this.
I've got 5 pieces of advice for Russell Westbrook, who's now on my corner.
There you go.
First piece of advice. Don't freak out if they end up in the NICU. Now, I know this sounds crazy. The NICU is the newborn intensive care unit. Twins come early. There's 2 of them in there. A lot of time they come early. They go to the NICU. In the NICU, they've got tubes coming out of their nose. They're on a breathing machine. The doctor's like, oh no, they can't breathe and they can't eat for themselves, but it's going to be fine. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. But Russell, don't freak out. Things go wrong, but they end up coming out of the NICU and being normal, healthy young
That happened for my youngest daughter, Gracie.
It's a very scary experience.
Freaking out did take place.
Yes, it takes place. It's hard. Don't freak out too much, I should say, because you're going to freak out. But it's going to be okay. All right? Next, a little more fun than that one. Synchronize their routine. You got 2 newborn babies. You know what they have to do? Sleep at the same time, nap at the same time, eat at the same time, bathe at the same time. You got to treat them basically like they're one baby. Like, you can't have them on different schedules. You can't have one waking up while the other one goes to sleep. That'll drive you crazy. It's hard enough as it is. Synchronize their schedules.
And they've been in the womb together for the last 9 months, so they're used to moving as the other one moves.
Yeah, they're comfy together. Next piece of advice for Russell Westbrook. Go on daddy dates. What do I mean by that? What happens with twins is you synchronize their schedule, their routine. You end up taking them walks at the same time, going to the restaurant at the same time, doing everything, getting in the car at the same time. You got to split them up sometimes. Get some one-on-one time. Get some one-on-one time with each individual young girl. I say that into a microphone. I've done it like 4 times. It's very hard to do, but it's also very important for their development. Next piece of advice for Russell Westbrook, who's having twins. I have twins. Next piece of advice is this. Don't forget about Noah. You got the older boy. You got twin newborns in the home, Jalen. It takes up a lot of time and energy and effort. And sometimes the older dude can just get left out.
I follow Furious Styles on social media, and he made Noah dunk the other day. He ain't forgetting about him.
He made him dunk?
Yes.
Did he pick him up?
He's like, you about to dunk.
And finally, this is the most important one. Nannies on nannies on nannies. Look, Russell Westbrook, I know what you make. You're rich. You're rich, Russell Westbrook. You get night nurses. You get nannies on nannies on nannies. You need all the nannies in the world. Your nannies should have nannies just to take care of them. What are you so mad about? What are you so mad about?
Oh, my goodness, my brother.
What are you so mad about?
You forgot about the number one thing. You really sold out, haven't you? What? We're on ESPN for an hour now at 2:00. What about a minivan? Seriously? Come on, man.
I forgot.
You're supposed to be the capo of the minivan mafia.
I forgot.
It's a list. How did you forget? It's a list. You took time and energy to think about these things. You wrote these things down. You sent them to producers. You emailed them to producers. Y'all talked about it on our production call.
Down. I just want to say this. I want to apologize to you, my co-host. I want to apologize to the staff. And I want to apologize to everyone in the minivan mafia brotherhood. And I want to apologize to Russell Westbrook. First thing you got to do is get a minivan. Pacifica is dope. Don't try to be cool. Don't try to get the big Benz. You can't fit all the car seats in the back of the big Benz. They're going to tell you can, but you can't, Russell. I let everybody down. Yep. Jalen Rose, Jason Tatum is from St. Louis.
The Lou.
Jason Tatum really loves St. Louis. How do I know that? Look at these tattoos that he recently got. The one on his right leg says St. Louis, and then there's a huge nuclear explosion till the world blows. The other one says like father, like son, him and his adorable child, both basically decked out in Cardinals uniforms. This dude rides for St. Louis. I have a lot of questions about this. But number one, what do you think about the nuclear explosion?
I'm not mad at it because that's a term I've used about my hometown before.
Really?
Absolutely. I'm not mad at it. The other one says like father, like son.
And they're
people put on
St.
for their
Louis
home
regalia. I really like Jason Tatum a lot.
But here's what I want to put out there for media members and fans and players. And I kind of paid attention to this dynamic more when I started to be a founder of JRLA. Mm-hmm. Is usually when players go off to college and then they go off to play in the pros, most of them, I ain't going to say forget where they came from.
No.
But they never go back to where they grew up.
That's fair.
What ends up happening is players end up living
Los Angeles
in the city that they had the most success.
Atlanta.
And or the city that on the map you turn to seems to be a vacation destination. Mm-hmm. Like Miami, like Atlanta, like Los Angeles, like Houston, that type of thing. Like
I like
DC.
to see him riding for St. Louis.
I like to see him riding for his hometown, representing the Midwest.
However, the way he represents St. Louis pizza is questionable, but that's another topic for another time. Well, the Philadelphia 76ers hadn't had a GM for a long time. They drafted without a GM. Brett Brown seemed to be making most of the personnel decisions. Well, they've announced who their GM is. They interviewed a lot of experienced people that had, previously been GMs. They decided to go with Elton Brand. Elton Brand, who was on the roster just a couple years ago as a player, was recently general manager of their G League team. He has now officially been announced as their general manager. What does that tell you about where they are as a program right now?
I think it's a really good hire. I'm happy for Elton. I'm also happy for Malik Rose, who got hired to Detroit's front office. Mm-hmm. Brent Berry, who got hired to the San Antonio Spurs front office. Mm-hmm. It's just an evolution for me. Grant Hill, who's in ownership with the Atlanta Hawks, to see players that I played against and or we're around the same age go on to be things other than players and continue to working in the game. He was a knowledgeable player. He was a productive player. He's been a part of the Sixers, as you alluded to, for the last couple of years. I think he has a pulse on the team. That's really what you want. You want somebody that understands how these guys think in front of the cameras and how they think off wax.
What it tells me is like they had the Colangelo thing, and Colangelo was sort of like implanted. You know what I mean? He was like from the outside and came in and sort of messed with the chemistry that they had in their front office. Not only does the locker room have chemistry, front office have chemistry too. And this tells me they're like, we like what's happening here. Like, let's not bring somebody in that could have different philosophies or butt heads with someone that's here. Let's keep this the way it's going. And here's a question for you. You mentioned these players that are now working in front offices. As a player yourself, they tried to get LeBron last year. There's a lot of free agents next offseason. Does a former player help them in their chances of securing a player? Like, is a player more comfortable if a former player is in the front office versus like an executive?
Of course it does. And there are going to be people that argue with this point, and then they're going to shut up after I say this. When a player goes on a college visit, who's their host?
Player.
For that exact same reason. There are going to be things that we could talk about and relate to that the coach is not going to be able to relate to, administrators not going to be able to relate to.
I've seen you interact with other former NBA players. It's way different than when you interact with our colleagues here at ESPN.
Correct.
It's like you guys just have this kind of brotherhood that even if you've never met the person before, like y'all give each other pounds and speak to each other in a way that you don't speak to other people.
And also, you talked about that level of cohesion. If you remember, Jerry Colangelo, who was brought on to be a decision maker and a special advisor to ownership, brought on his son, who, by the way, looks like Nicolas Cage, Brian Colangelo. And we saw what happened with his Twitter fingers and his situation that forced him to be ousted. So if Elton's sitting right there and he's shown you that he has the potential to get it done, you do your due diligence around the league and see if there's somebody else out there you feel like is going to bring more to the table. And then you turn around and decide that he deserves the job. I applaud them for doing so.
Well, Brand's got some work to do, not just with bringing in free agents, but also with the players that are on the roster. Now, there are two players on his roster that are jump shot challenged, okay? Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz. And Brett Brown is obviously asked about this all the time. And here's what he had to say about Ben Simmons and his jump shot and his summer. He said, this is what he told Tom Moore. He said, quote, "I think the man hours he has put in is impressive. He says he's more confident in his shot. His jump shot is not going to define him." Do you think in one offseason someone can become a jump shooter?
We ran into Ben Simmons this summer. I covered him when he was in college. I'm a huge fan of his game. I said to anybody that would listen on this program while he was injured and while Joel Embiid was injured that they were going to be what for the league when they got healthy?
A problem.
Said it for a year. Okay, it was not even being discussed. He has a huge flaw in his game. I think with work, as Brett Brown mentioned, it can get fixed. But his latter comment made me think of something else. When he talked about having the ability to like take it to that next level with his work ethic, I just want to see how it's going to go dating a Jenner.
It's over now. They broke up. I know you don't keep up with the Jenners the way I do, but that's over now. That's over. She moved on. He moved on.
Okay, so he going to have a jumper then.
Okay, good.
He going to be knocking down threes.
Well, that's what he had to say about Ben Simmons, but here's what he had to say.
So he was like, I need to go to work on my jumper. She like, we need to go to this Hollywood red carpet. He like, you know what?
Yeah, red carpet ain't paying me any money. Well, here's what he had to say about Markelle Fultz.
Maybe she broke it off.
His summer and his workouts. Brown said that Markelle Fultz has put up 150K jump shots working with Drew Hanlon. Says he's been confident in seeking out shots since returning to the Sixers gym. Jalen Rose, do you think this will be the year where Markelle Fultz plays the way we all expected Markelle Fultz to play when he was drafted number 1?
It almost seems like I've become the person that needs to defend the honor of Markelle Fultz. And I don't mind doing it because when they put him in the game at the end of last year, I saw him get a triple-double.
But then
I
they
saw
didn't
him
play the entire playoffs.
And I was frustrated watching them play against the Celtics when you just took me number 1. You traded me for Tatum. He's out there getting 20, and you giving me DMPs?
In like 5 minutes.
That's almost disrespectful.
And I was just playing it pretty well at the end of the regular season. Do you remember the streak that the Sixers won to finish the regular season?
They won like 19 in a row or something.
One of the best teams in the league for that stretch. And Markelle Fultz was playing for that stretch. And then when the Celtics series comes around, guess what? He's on the bench.
So I do think he's going to be a productive player, and I'm looking forward to seeing his improved jump shot.
That could go either way for me. I could see him being just a phenomenon, being excellent. I could also see him doing the same thing he did last year. Who knows? Well, Danny Green was on a podcast recently, And he reminded us of a tale about the recently retired Manu Ginobili, who we will celebrate by just celebrating his grit and his hustle. Because Danny Green was on the podcast and told the story of when Manu Ginobili took a charge and was hit in the nether region so hard that he had to have a testicle removed.
That's a sacrifice I wasn't willing to make.
You weren't standing in front of people driving down the lane?
No. Even when I set a pick, I'll make sure I cover the family jewels. Somebody get a full head of steam. I'm quick to move out of the way and take out the ball quick.
Here's the thing, Jalen. You never played any type of defense.
Correct.
You never played
At different points in my career, I was forced to.
You did.
Your role changes based on your team and the opportunities in your age.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't looked to lock down people in Toronto. I was getting old.
So we have a segment called Keep It Moving. If you want to discuss the topic, you say hit the brakes. If you don't want to discuss the topic, me, you, and Method Man just keep it moving. Are you ready, Mr. Rose?
Yes, indeed.
First, Tywan Jones. There was a broken play. He was running around in his own end zone, lost his helmet, and got hit. We now have a picture of what the results look like.
I need to see that. Hit the brakes.
Oof, this picture right here will show you why it is just so difficult to play in the NFL. That is helmet to forehead contact. It happened in this weird broken play in the end zone. That is just gruesome, Jalen. That's gruesome.
Every time I see pictures like that, it reminds me of why I didn't have the courage to continue to play football once I got to high school.
Moving on, Pete Carroll said Russell Wilson was over-trying a little bit.
Keep it moving. He the only thing they got. Doug Baldwin is out. They have a nondescript run game, and the only person left from the Legion of Boom is Earl Thomas. But Shaquille Griffin did get 2 picks.
Lionel Messi has his 8th Champions League hat trick. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
Okay. Lionel Messi, who is widely considered as one of the greatest soccer players of all time, maybe even the GOAT, he has 8 Champions League hat tricks. And he had his latest. How impressive is that?
It's truly impressive, especially for him to have that level of productivity and longevity in a sport that continues to reinvent itself with young talent.
And he called Manu Ginobili the Lionel Messi of basketball. Moving on, there's a man who's going to be forced to drink bleach for almost 3 years. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
Okay. Gentleman by the name of Mark Sessler of the NFL Network said he would drink bleach for 1,000 days if the Browns traded Josh Gordon to the Patriots. Well, guess what they did? Traded Josh Gordon to the Patriots. You paid up a bet where you had to eat cinnamon for this fine program. If you said that, would you actually pay up that bet?
Well, first off, I'm not going to say that.
I'm never saying
Number
anything
two,
like that.
I'm not going to do that. Number three, in his attempt to act like he's trying to do that he might mess around and kill himself.
Yeah, I'm not doing that at all. I was saying, look, I was just joking. That's not a thing I'm doing.
He probably got to delete his account then or something.
Yeah, he does. Next, Lonzo Ball will not participate in full practice at the start of training camp for the Lakers.
Keep it moving. He had knee surgery this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it moving. Not surprised.
An online divorce service says that, quote, Fortnite addiction has been cited in over 200 divorces.
Hit the brakes.
Okay, Fortnite is a video game that's all the rage right now. And there are over 200 divorces in which Fortnite was specifically named as one of the reasons for the end of the marriage.
From what I've seen, and as somebody that once I got to the league and started playing meaningful NBA games, I just didn't have the time and energy to play a lot of video games anymore. I've noticed that game in particular seems to take a lot of time to actually play.
It's eating up a lot of people's time.
It's not like playing
people
one
losing
football
a lot of sleep.
or one basketball game and running it back best of 3 type of thing. This seems like a 10-hour
commitment.
commitment.
Who got the Fortnite addiction? The Podfather. Podfather got bit by the bug. Moving on, though. Heinz is releasing a new type of sauce. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Keep it moving.
I'm hitting the brakes. I'm hitting the brakes on this one. You have some French fries, and you mix the mayonnaise with the ketchup.
I do.
Now, Heinz is releasing pre-made mayo chup. Would you rather have it pre-mixed, or do you want it mixed yourself?
I want to mix myself.
I want to mix my own too. Don't do that for me. I want my own ratio. That's the ratio that I want.
I want to mix myself.
I want to mix it myself. You think you're doing me a favor, Heinz? You're not doing me a favor. Take your mayo chup and just leave it. Stick to ketchup. Jalen Rose, neither you nor I really gamble on sports.
No.
I understand that it would be fun. I understand that it is fun for other people, but we don't really talk about it too much on the program because neither you are people that gamble on the game. However, there's an interesting story from the world of sports. Westbrook, which is one of the go-to sports books for odds, and they had the Patriots as sort of Super Bowl favorites during the offseason and the beginning of the season. Well, that's changed, Mr. Rose. They have now posted the Rams as favorites to win the Super Bowl. The Rams are 9-2. The Pats are 6-1 by a pretty sizable margin. If someone said to you, Jalen Rose, what do you think of the way Westgate has changed the odds? Do you think the Rams are the Super Bowl favorites? What would you say?
At this point in the season, they deserve to be Super Bowl favorites. I talked about them winning the NFC, the moves they made this offseason, taking care of Todd Gurley, taking care of Brandon Cooks, bringing in Ndamukong Suh, bringing in Peters, bringing in Aqib Talib, and plus taking care of Aaron Donald, who's arguably the best player in football. When you have that level of talent on your roster, it's legitimate to call you a contender. And the way they've played so far this year, it's going to be interesting to see if Jared Goff, who led an offense who led the NFL in scoring last year, can continue to progress as a quarterback, because this is the window. I talk about this a lot.
Oh, this is the window.
When your quarterback is on their rookie deal,
Yep.
Everybody, trust me, I'm a Lions fan. I love Matthew Stafford. We gave him $100 million. I saw Carr get that happen with the Raiders. I saw it happen with Garoppolo in San Fran. I saw it happen with Joe Flacco after he won a Super Bowl. I saw it happen with Russell Wilson after he won a Super Bowl. It's hard to build out your roster when you devote that much money to the quarterback position.
Absolutely. I would probably pick the Rams as my Super Bowl favorite. And we've only seen 2 weeks, but what they did to the Cardinals, man, wow. It's hard to beat an NFL team like that.
And for salary, Tom Brady's an outlier because he's uniquely positioned because his wife makes more money than he does.
Well, he restructured himself a couple times to help the franchise.
That helps, what I just said.
Well, Oklahoma State, what they do something very unique to try to distract visiting kickers in their home stadium. They put up this gigantic picture of Gary Busey, who went to Oklahoma State. My first question for you, do you know who Gary Busey is?
He's an actor.
He's an actor.
I'm trying to think of some of the projects that he's been a part of.
Jalen, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to give you 100. I'm being 100. I tried to think of a Gary Busey movie because I was going to ask you a Gary Busey movie. I couldn't do it.
Okay, cool.
I couldn't do it.
Okay, cool.
Chinatown?
So
that's Jack Nicholson.
Did they give
48
you one?
Hours?
I've seen 48 Hours.
Is he in there?
Multiple times.
I can't name a single Gary Busey movie. I can't name a single one. Poor Gary Busey. He didn't deserve that.
No, he didn't deserve that. But at least they reinvented him by putting his picture up there.
He's relevant. He's relevant.
Yeah, you get in front of a new audience.
Well, someone who we've been tracking very carefully this offseason is a gentleman by the name of Joakim Noah. Now, when we last saw him, he was in the jungle praising Ja. He's been rumored because he's been joked about because of Tom Thibodeau's bringing all the old Bulls back to the Timberwolves. They don't want that contract. But he had another post that just made me jealous of the life of Joakim Noah. Look at this post on Instagram. First of all, he's in great shape. Look at that. I would never put a shirt on if I looked like that. Look at him. Cornhole on the beach every day this summer was so special. He's playing cornhole with Josh Brolin and John McEnroe every single day. Jalen, what do you think about that?
Easy. It's a failed test.
Oh, that's a failed test.
And the one thing I learned about situations and pictures like that, it ain't only him.
No. If you're playing cornhole every day, that's medicinal. That's medicinal. Finally, we have some other medicinal news. In Florida, something very strange has been happening. On the beach of Florida, just huge plastic sealed bundles have just been washing up on shore. There you see one right there. Do you know what's inside those gigantic bundles, Mr. Rose? Cannabis.
Really?
It's cannabis. And what's happening is these 11-pound bundles have been washing up on the shore. And do you think people are just grabbing those bundles and reporting them to the authorities?
I don't think they're grabbing them and reporting them to the authorities, but what I do know is the people who sent them will be looking for them soon.
They're probably looking for them. I don't know what happened out there in the ocean, but there's someone who's in a lot of trouble because those were probably supposed to go somewhere that they didn't get to.
Yes.
And his phone is probably blowing up right now.
They did not make the destination.
His or her phone is blowing up right now.
Yes.
But I just love the idea that people now know about these bundles because, you know, there's always that one guy with the metal detector trying to like find a gold watch or something. So now we got beachgoers going to the beach just with binoculars, just looking for these bundles and then fighting over them when they come up on the shore.
Correct. And that footage wasn't 100 because you would have saw people picking that up and running with it like it's a football.
Yeah, they've been chasing them down. Lawrence Taylor out there trying to tackle them.
But first off, just trying to bust it open to see if it's good or not. Like, let me see if this is actually good or not before I get myself in some trouble.
Here's what I'm doing. I'm not getting involved with that mess. I'm not getting involved with that mess at all.
You're lying to the people.
Yeah, I know. I'm not lying to the people. I'm not lying to the people, Jalen Rose. I'm not going to wrestle with some stranger over that. That is not. I know you leave the show. Go ahead and leave the show. You can call me a liar for the second time today, but there is no chance that I'm doing that. This is the show I've always wanted. I'm so glad Jalen's gone. Can you not come back tomorrow either? Can you not come back? I hope you left permanently. You have this on film, right? Women's Wednesday here on Jalen and Jacoby, taking only female voicemails. Don't forget, fellas, if you call 985-80-JALEN, leave us voicemails. We're taking cultural regional questions. Send us your cultural regional voicemails at 985-80-JALEN. Today's Women's Wednesday, so we're taking female voicemails like this one.
Hey, Jalen. Hey, Jacoby. This is Fran calling from Los Angeles. Shout out to Reg, of course. So I have a soft move or boss move for you guys. I have this friend. She's a big sports fan, mostly NBA, loves to watch a lot of the 5 p.m. NBA games when they come on here on the West Coast. So one of her favorite things to do is to head to like a sports bar, you know, catch a few at the same time. Now she's single, she's 30, and talks about wanting to date, but when she goes to these bars, she wears a cubic zirconium fake wedding ring to keep guys from bothering her. Now, all of her friends give her shit about this because it's like, if you want to be dating, here you are at a place where there's going to be some guys probably with similar interests, and you're wearing a wedding ring, so they're not going to come up to you. So is it a soft move or a boss move to talk about how dating in LA is hard and you want to date, but then to wear a fake wedding ring when you go out so guys don't bother you? She says, you know, guys at the sports bars are usually gross and men are gross in general when they're drunk. But then again, is this an opportunity, and is she blocking her blessings here? All right, guys, thanks so much. And if you couldn't tell, I don't really have a friend. The girl in the story is me. All right, bye.
Hi, Fran. Thank you for the support. Appreciate the love.
Shout out.
And make sure the individuals that you're going to watch sports with, especially your lady friends, introduce them to our podcast and encourage them to call and leave voicemails as well.
Yep.
We got away from our power couple day, something I want to pitch to my fellow brother, my fellow coworker, David Jacoby.
Colleague.
As well as the producers of this show, to create that level of engagement that I think our fans enjoy and we enjoy as well. I want to answer your question about your friend.
Oh, you're going to answer the question? Okay.
You on me today. What's wrong, man? What I do? I'm telling you, see me taking notes.
Here's what happens. During the call,
I ask you for a pen.
During the call, you're like, yo, you want it or you're like, which one? We communicate. We non-verbally communicate about who's going to answer the question. And you're like, you looked excited about it. So I was like, yo, you answer the question. And then you just start yapping for 4 minutes about nothing.
I wasn't yapping for 4 minutes.
Okay.
It was a woman that left a voicemail.
Fran.
Today happens to be Wednesday.
Women's Wednesday.
The last time I checked, we only had one woman voicemail. I think somebody should speak it to a microphone to try to get more people to do it.
Okay.
I think I probably qualify as one of the 2 people that has the opportunity to do so. Mm-hmm. So I took that chance to do it.
Great job by you, Mr. Rose.
Okay, that's one. Number 2, I disagree with you on something, Fran.
Oh!
It won't discourage guys from talking to her because she wears a ring on her finger.
Oh, I disagree with that.
As a married man, go look at Molly Karen Rose mentions right now. Guys don't care.
But that ain't coming up to Molly in a sports bar.
Guys don't care.
No. She's on TV, too.
Guys will go up to a woman and be like, oh, he let you out? He let you have friends?
Really?
Yeah.
See, I don't experience this. I mean, my girl gets hollered at, But I think first of all, there's a few things. Number one, women look for rings a lot more than men do. Like, I don't even look for rings. I mean, I've been with the same lady for 16 years, so this isn't a thing for me. But like, women, like, the second they see a stranger on the subway, they check for ring quick. You know what I mean? They ring check real quick, ring check. I don't think dudes necessarily do that.
Yes, they do.
That also is a testament. See, I haven't been a single dude for 17 years, so I guess they do. But there's a couple things that Fran said I want to say. First of all, soft move. If you're single and you're interested in dating, you have to be open to new experiences. You have to be open to new people. You have to be open to chance encounters. You can't just be on the internet swiping left and right. Like, I think the chance encounters and catching a real vibe of the energy of a stranger in person and that excitement that comes with that is something you have to be open to. Also, you also have to be stern with people that you don't want to talk to. Men are dumb, but we can pick up on context clues. Like, if you make it clear that you're not interested in the conversation, I think a dude will back off.
And here's how you quickly do that. Do not let him buy you anything. Do not let him sit next to you. Don't engage in small talk.
Don't ask questions.
For a dude,
one-word answers.
Here's the only thing he's trying to do is to get your attention. That's it. Sometimes it's a smile. Sometimes it's a reply. And he telling himself, she put down her guard a little bit. But I disagree with you, my brother, on a few things.
What's up?
Oh, man. And how many years have you been married?
8.
And this is coming from the newlywed of the show. Wearing a ring on your finger as a single woman, it actually does something that you're underestimating.
What's that?
It eliminates a lot of foot traffic that you don't want to deal with.
Right?
No. I said what I needed to say.
You're
on your phone, so you didn't get what I said.
Texting our producer.
I didn't say who you were texting. I said you were on the phone, so you didn't get it. Let me say it again. Wearing a ring on your finger as a single woman won't deter her from meeting the person that she wants to go after. It will, however, eliminate foot soldiers from coming up to her constantly.
That's
because
fair.
Some of those people are going to think she's married, and therefore that ring creates a barrier.
Let's imagine I wasn't wearing a ring and I was a single dude. If a woman came up to me and showed some interest, even if it was just starting a conversation, asking follow-up questions and kind of, showing some body language, and she had a ring on her finger, I'd be very confused. I'd be like, is this a trap? Is there some dude in the corner staring at me? Like, what is happening?
See, I'm glad we're having this conversation because my take is different from yours, and it would sound like two men having this conversation, so I don't mind taking this position. We always think it's up to us to create the level of interest to spark the conversation. Men, as you said, are what? What was the word you used that we are? And I agree. It starts with a D, and it ends with a B.
Dumb.
Correct. We're dumb.
So dumb it took me a while to come up with that.
Correct. And so here's what happens in the thing. We think it's all about us. Y'all don't realize that y'all being schemed upon. The women are the people that dictate if you actually going to get a phone number, if you're going to be able to buy a drink, if you're going to be able to see her again. Not the men.
Women are in complete control.
They're in 1,000% control.
Here's the one thing that we can control is whether or not we open the conversation. That's the one thing that men control is do I have what it takes? Do I want to come up and open up that conversation?
I disagree with that too. Here's why. Because they'll keep it moving on you.
That's what I'm saying. But they have to open the conversation.
Before you even get a chance to come up to them and speak, there's a way to huddle around the girl so you don't find a way to get in.
Show the body
like the
language.
double dutch. They can give you the body language. They can pick up the phone.
Box you
they
out.
can ignore you. Like, there's a way to stop a dude from coming up to talk to you. Mm-hmm. They control that. We don't. So wearing a ring on her finger and she's not married means nothing.
And what type of dude are you opening yourself up to? Type of dude that's going to walk up to a woman with a ring on her finger and try to kick game? Like, that's not the type of person you want to be dating.
But here's what, you taking it from the man's perspective.
No, that's the female perspective.
No, you just said, what type of dude do you want that's going to come up and talk to a woman that's wearing a ring?
Yes.
And for the 5th time, I'm going to tell you, he ain't in control of that situation. She is. What about the dude that she's going to walk up to and or give some body language to and or give a conversation to and then allow him to talk to her, and then guess what? She can actually tell him that. Oh, I'm single. It's just a ring I'm wearing.
I know. See, that would be nice. then I would feel special if a woman did that. Like, maybe this is a good game for her. She comes up, starts a conversation, and then she says, listen, I just wear this ring to keep dudes away from me. It would make me feel like, oh, she likes me.
Boom.
You know what I mean?
Boom.
Like, oh, she likes me.
I just saw the light come on in your head.
So it's like, I could see this kind of being a boss move in its own way.
Thank you.
Where because like you select.
You controlling the situation.
You select who you go up to. But one thing I also want to disagree with is at the very end, Fran was like, dude, because dudes at sports bars be drunk.
They do.
And like, that's
Check.
the wrong type of dude.
Check.
It's just like, there's nothing wrong with dudes at sports bars. I go to sports bars. You know what I mean? It's just like, dudes go to sports bars. If you're interested in the NBA, you're gonna be interested in the type of dude that goes to sports bars.
And also, I have to conclude this conversation on this. When you're the woman that's wearing a ring on your finger and a dude still wants to come up and holler at you, that's the fool you want no parts to deal with at all in any way, shape, or form. You shoot him down, straight down, don't pass go, don't collect $200.
Of course.
So now you control the situation. And I'm pretty sure, as we acknowledged to start this show, the more intelligent, the better smelling, the more disciplined gender has what it takes to do so.
Preach. Thank you so much for the ladies that called in, Fran and Anna. And ladies, don't forget to leave us voicemails for Women Crush Wednesday. Fellas, leave us voicemails, cultural, regional questions. We'll be putting those on the television show every day at 2 p.m. on ESPN2. We're going to conclude our podcast here, but we're not canceled. We'll be back tomorrow. Why is that, Ray?
We're not done. We're not done. Got to give the people time. Give people what they want.
They're my little guys. I love them.